forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This block is called Hayes Corner and it's 12-inch finished. Here is the diagram. Here are 4 blocks put together, and these are all facing the same direction, and these are alternate blocks are rotated, so it gives you something completely different. We have 4 patches. Patch A is a 2-inch finished square. We cut 2.5-inch squares. We'll need 6 for the blue fabric and 4 for the background fabric. Here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. These will be for the 4-patch units here, and you can strip piece these, and I will have instructions at the bottom of how to strip piece, but in this demo we're going to do the patches. Patch B is a 2-inch by 4-inch finished rectangle. We cut 4.5 inches by 2.5-inch rectangles, and we'll need 6 of the main fabric. Here is the AccuQuilt die that will cut that shape. Patch C is a 2-inch by 6-inch finished rectangle. We cut 6.5 inches by 2.5 inches, and we'll need 2 patches of the main fabric. Oh, there is no AccuQuilt die that I could find that did this. Patch D is a 4-inch finished half-square triangle. We cut 4 7/8-inch squares, cut them in half once diagonally for 2 patches. That's if you want patches, you can do that. You'll need 2 patches of the background and 2 patches of the blue. And here are the AccuQuilt dies that will cut this shape. In my demo, I'm going to do half-square triangles 2 at a time. For that, we just cut the squares at 4 7/8. We do not subcut them. And I'll show you that in the demo. Here are all the fabrics I've chosen. Here are the squares, patch A, and most of these are for the 4-patch unit. Here are the small rectangles, the large rectangles, and we will make the large half-square triangles with these 2 pieces of fabric. Now we'll just follow the instructions. And step 1, take patch A and make 2 of these 4-patch units. Then in step 2, we're going to sew a B patch onto one side of the 4-patch units. So let's do that. The 4 patches will look like this. You just sew these 2 together and these 2 together, press them, and then sew the 2 rows together and make 2 of these 4-patch units. After we're done with that, we'll take patch B and we're going to sew it on one side like this. Sew it together and press the seams open. For this, you want to make sure you have the right placement of the 4-patch and the B patch right there, because then the design won't come out right unless you do it this way. So let's get our 4-patch units and side rectangle pieced, and we'll come back and do step 3. Steps 1 and 2 are finished. Now for step 3, we take 2 B patches and the remaining A patches and stitch them together like this. Press the seams open. Step 4, we take the units from step 2 and the units from step 3, stitch them together like this. Press the seams open. Now we move on to step 5. We take the 2 D patches and put them right sides together, and we're going to make half-square triangles 2 at a time. If you're not familiar with this method, stay tuned and the short tutorial is coming up. On the back side of the light fabric, we're going to draw a diagonal line, put the fabrics together, right sides together, and we're going to stitch on either side of the diagonal line. Here is the diagonal line drawn, and then the stitching on both sides. Now we cut this in half along the diagonal line. Then we have our 2 half-square triangles. Press the seams open and cut off the nubs. Half-square triangles are done. Now we take our remaining 2 B patches and we stitch them on top like this. Press the seams open. Next, we'll stitch the C patch to this side and press the seams open. Our 4 units are finished. Now we just put the block together. Stitch these two together and these two, press the seams open, then stitch the two halves together and your block is finished. Here's a tip for you that I do. I'm going to sew these two together and these two together. Flip this over and I place a pin right here. So when I go to the machine, I know that I need to stitch this edge. Do the same thing for this one. Too many times I've had to rip things out because they get all out of whack from the cutting mat to the sewing machine. Now let's stitch this. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.